And Tom Grimm with us now. And Tom, back to the winning ways last week against Albany. How satisfying was it just to, get back to what you guys had been doing all season long after the first loss of the year?
Well, it felt good to get back on track. We had a hiccup in the road, losing to Notre Dame, but it felt good, to get that win and get things going the right way again.
We've talked, I think, every year with the Albany game that they are so different in what they do. How different was it for you guys on defense trying to combat Lyle Thompson and the crew?
Well, he's the best player in the world right now, so you have to, you can't really prepare for that type of play. So we just had to stick to our game plan and be sound defensively in our techniques. And, he still managed to score, I think 4 goals or 5 goals or whatever. So, that just tells you how good of a player he is.
You just have to kind of forget the crazy stuff they do now going forward because you won't see an offense like that again.
Yeah, well, it's a nice test to have, too, to go against an unconventional player, an unconventional team like that. So I think in the long run that'll help us out.
You had an assist in the game on the breakaway play that went on. How involved were you in the transition game, and how exciting is that for you to be part of that aspect of the game?
Well, it's always exciting, but I think, to be honest, I look back at the film and I think we were offside. So, thankfully they didn't call it, and I'll take the assist, but it came, at a point where, it maybe shouldn't have.
All right, almost a week later, so we won't call the officials and turn you in on that. But I did notice this. I think it was Henry that had the goal, right?
Yeah.
You had a little bow to him after. Yeah. I go back to the goal you had earlier this season. You also had a bow. What are you working in this bow celebration?
Well, I used to do that in high school with my older brother, and against Virginia, I got a goal, so I was excited and did the bow. But then with Scooney, he'll come to the sideline. I'll give him a bow after he scores normally for the last 3 years or whatever. So when it happened on the field, he kind of just looked at me. He realized it was me and then bowed, and it wasn't planned at all. So it was pretty funny though.
Well, that's fun that it happened sort of naturally out there.
Yeah, it was natural. Yeah.
All right, this week down in Carolina, huge game in the ACC on the road. What are your expectations of this trip down to Fetzer?
Well, we know it's going to be a tough game, and it's a great test for us at this point of the season. We played Notre Dame before. It didn't really go that well, so we learned a lot from that game and the Albany game, and hopefully we can correct some of those wrongs and play well against these guys.
The expectation ahead of this game is it's going to be a close game. How can that help you guys out going forward to be involved in these as you ramp up to the ACC tournament and then the NCAAs?
Well, I think the experience, traveling away. This year we play some of our biggest games on the road, so eventually that's going to help us in the long run. So I think that's what we're going to take out of this.
All right, Tom, look forward to it this weekend.
Thank you very much.